Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is your ultimate guide for Black Ops 7 Zombies. Now, this guide is intended for not only brand new players that are picking up Bo7 Zombies for the first time, but this is also for more experienced players who are coming back after a little while. And if you've already have some stuff in Black Ops 6 Zombies unlocked, it will be very useful here. And so I'm going to show you how to optimize your builds. I'm going to show you how to access and play the maps and sort of what you should be focusing your attention on. All right, so absolutely first and foremost, before we can jump into a game, let's take a quick look at settings. Now, luckily, since this is so closely related to Black Ops 6, they have a setting that allows you to import setting features from the prior title. So if you already are comfortable with your settings in Bo6, and particularly in Zombies, I would go ahead and import these settings, especially if you're playing on the same platform and you already know what you like. But just in case you don't, I recommend going in first and at least adjusting your sensitivity and probably weapon and world motion blur. This is a big one, but I would also play around with sprint cancels reload. Some people like this off, especially a lot of classic CoD players. I've been experimenting having it on or off, but I do recommend for most players to keep this on, as there are actual mechanics that allow you to not only fire while sprinting in game, so you'll probably want to be able to reload while sprinting as well. So I would just make sure that once your settings are in order and if you've imported them, you can go ahead and start ready to unlock in the game. In your settings, you should also go over to the HUD presets and either keep the classic standard on or switch to the zombie specific Ethereum HUD if you just want a little extra style in your game. The first thing you're going to notice is obviously if you are level 1 and you're jumping into zombies, you will not have access to your loadouts or your augments yet. You're going to need to get to at least level 4 to access your loadouts and get to level 11 to access your augments. Now, if you're already familiar with Black Ops 6 Zombies, then you most likely understand how augments work. However, if you're brand new to Zombies, I'll give you a recap so you can understand and grasp what augments are for. These are essentially added benefits or bonuses to mechanics and other systems that you're already going to find in the match. So for example, if you're playing the game and you get a perk, let's say Juggernog, the augments that you choose to apply will affect it in one way or another. You could have an augment that gives you even more health than Juggernog usually does. You can have an augment that makes your armor a little bit more powerful, and basically you get to choose one major and one minor augment for just about everything in the game. All of your perks, literally every single one of your field upgrades, and so on. Now, I would recommend that if you have these unlocked from Black Ops 6, or at least a fair amount of them, you can already apply your augments over here in this tab. However, if you're brand new and you don't have any augments unlocked, I would get started right away, and all you have to do is go to choose and research an augment, and that's it. Once you're selected on a track, all you need to do is play the game, and as you get XP, as you just play the match as normal, that track will progress and you'll slowly unlock both major and minor augments that by the time you're done with that match and you go back to the main menu, you can then go back into the augments tab and start picking and choosing what bonuses you want to apply for your next match. And you can keep doing this until you have all of the augments unlocked for every single category in the game. Now, whether you have any augments unlocked or not, I'm going to leave this here just as a reference so that you can apply these once you do unlock them. I'm going to go over some very important augment recommendations that are not only just very effective and in general quite powerful, but should help you quite tremendously when it comes to survival and damage dealing. So let's go in order, and I'm just going to show you all my augments. We're going to start with perks because these are the most important. You can do field upgrades and ammo mods, sort of just kind of build dependent, but these are the important ones. For stamina up, in Bo7 Zombies Ashes of the Damned specifically, I'm actually going to recommend the major augment that prevents you from taking any fall damage. Now, I do like Stalker. I think that feels nice, but at the same time, I think taking no fall damage is amazing for how this map is laid out and might prove to be extremely useful. So I'd recommend putting Free Faller on, and I would also probably recommend the minor augment that allows you to get extra boost speed after getting an equipment kill. For Quick Revive, this is more of my solo build, and again, really depends whether I'm playing co-op or by myself, but really there's only a handful of augments that are actually useful in solo, but by far the best one has to be Dying Wish. This gives you essentially one time to cheat death, and it will consume the perk instead of allowing you to go down. For Juggernog, I absolutely recommend Probiotic. This just increases your base health to 300 instead of 250 when you have Juggernog applied, and I would also absolutely recommend Hardened Plates as you get more damage negation for the armor that you do have. The Durable Plates is nice, I guess, but I feel like it's better to take less damage when you do get hit than it is to have like armor that just breaks a little less quickly. For Melee Macchiato, this is kind of build dependent, honestly, and what weapons you're using. Some take advantage of this more than others, but in general, I would recommend all melee attacks are faster, and I would give you extra backpedal speed after landing a melee attack. That can be kind of nice. For Speed Cola, it's somewhat build dependent, but I generally recommend the classic formula as it makes your reload insanely quick, and I recommend being able to swap weapons faster as well. For Voltrade, here's an interesting one because there's an augment specific to Bo7 that actually auto applies armor plates, which could be really nice, and I'm going to have to start playing with that, experimenting, and see if I like it. But I would also recommend the major augment that creates a gas cloud that makes you completely invisible to zombies. This can really bail you out of a lot of sticky situations and will prove to be very useful in this game specifically. For Death Perception in general, I'm going to recommend Critical Eye and also Bird's Eye View. Bird's Eye View is nice because it allows you to see zombies better visually on your minimap. It just increases the scan rate, but Critical Eye will actually allow you to deal some extra damage versus if you didn't have this on. Occasionally, a body shot can deal the damage of a headshot is what that means, and that turns out to be really nice, especially for certain weapon types. Next is PhD Flopper, and I personally highly recommend Dr. Ram as this actually allows you to somewhat get out of tight situations if you get cornered by zombies. By initiating a sprint, you can just push them over, and I also do strongly recommend Tribologist, which allows you to slide faster and cover more distance. This is amazing for movement. For Deadshot, this is probably your most important perk for just raw damage dealing, specifically other than double tap, but my Deadshot augments are going to be Deadhead and specifically Dead Break. There might be a few specific builds and weapon types that take advantage of other, Deadshot augments, but in general, these are absolutely going to be the best ones. For Double Tap, this is your other very important perk for damage dealing and is absolutely critical if you want to get the most out of your weapons. The first one I'm going to recommend is Double Standard for your major augment, and then also I'm going to strongly recommend Double Time. These just will increase your rate of fire, increase the damage you're dealing with virtually every single weapon type in the game. Now with Elemental Pop, I'm going to probably recommend for everybody Vulnerabine, as this increases elemental damage across the board for weapon types, and also Electric Cherry. Wisp Tea is interesting because I need to experiment more with it, but the Demon's Wrath and the increased extension of it should be probably the best for most people. Now when it comes to your ammo mods and field upgrades, I'll let you kind of decide from there, but the perks are the big one to really get right. The final thing to know before you jump into a game is setting your field upgrade plus making your gobblegum packs. Now the nice thing about Black Ops 7 Zombies is that you can change your field upgrade during the match as well as your gobblegum pack selection, so I do recommend making a variety of packs that you might want to try out in the game, or just have the ones that you're going to pop right off the bat and then swap to another set that's going to be more useful. So I would spend some time creating different packs for different situations because you can always alternate between these and your field upgrades during whatever game you're playing. Now finally, it's time to jump into the game and wonder about what you're going to select. Now I'm going to say that if you're just a beginner and you're looking to start nice and slow and ease yourself into zombies, I would highly advise you play Farm Survival first and foremost. This is a very small, easy map that allows you to kind of get your bearings and just shoot zombies at your own time. This is great for ranking up guns, unlocking attachments, and just getting a feel for the overall game. Farm Survival is a very easy setup as you'll spawn in, and then all you need to do is shoot these orange growths off of this power station, and once all of them have been destroyed, you now have the ability to go upstairs in the barn and then flip the power switch. This activates generates the power for the Wonder Fizz machine and the Pack-a-Punch. The Wonder Fizz machine is located upstairs in the house that allows you to buy all of the perks at an increasingly high price after you buy each subsequent one. And then the Pack-a-Punch machine is located at the top of in the back of this barn that allows you to upgrade your weapon and deal more damage. Now, there's a pretty important change from Black Ops 6 Zombies where there was different locations for different rarities of armor. However, all of the armor wall buy locations are now just in the same point, and you can buy tier 2 and tier 3 at the exact same spot for just an increased price. And like I said, from that point, farm survival is literally, you have all the tools now, just live as long as you can, shoot as many zombies as you want, and whether you die or exfil is totally up to you. The exfil will give you a little bit more XP, so if you're trying to rank up, this will be a good idea. Now, I will have videos a little bit later showing you how to rank up extremely quickly, but for now, all you can really decide is if whether you want to play it out or exfil. And this should be easy enough to just jump in and rank up all of your weapons if that's your goal. However, if you want to play the full main zombies map, Ashes of the Damned, we're going to give you a little bit of a walkthrough of this map so that you can understand how it works, where everything is located, and how you can survive, because it's definitely a bit more challenging than farm survival. Ashes of the Damned does feature farm as a section in this map, as you'll see, but it's also a lot more expanded. There's even a vehicle to drive around, and I'm going to break down how all of this works. Okay, right when you spawn in on Ashes of the Damned, you will be in Janus Towers Plaza. This is a fairly small area with not a ton to do in the beginning, but what you'll notice is that in the back of this area is a small building, and inside this building, you can melee this spot on the ground to reveal Ted's head. If you pick this up and bring it over to the truck, you can place it on there, meaning Ted will now allow you to drive this truck around. From this point, you can choose to either go left or right. In my honest opinion, I think going left at pretty much every moment is the best option. I would start this way because this will take you immediately to farm. Keep in mind, as you're in this truck, it can take damage from zombies in these, sort of in-between zones. But what you'll notice is on the ground, you have these red and green growths. The green ones are good. Run them over. They will give you more health for your truck, and they'll keep you alive for longer as well. The red ones are bad. They'll throw your truck around. They'll deal damage. Just avoid these at all costs. Drive until you hit the farm, and then from here, you can do what you learned in the farm survival map, which is, remove the growths, flip the power switch, and then you're good to go. However, unlike farm, you can get back in the truck and continue to drive forward. This will take you to Ashwood Lake. After you've upgraded a gun, make sure to go upstairs and then also destroy the growths, flip the power switch. You know the drill with this at this point. Keep in mind, this area can be a little bit tricky because it's a lot more vertical, which is why I recommended the no fall damage stamina augment. So if you have stamina already, it makes getting around here very easy, because otherwise you'll take quite a bit of damage falling off of these roofs if you don't. From this point, you can choose to go left or right again. And if you go right, this is going to take you to exit 115, aka the diner from transit. But before you head off in either direction, make sure that you open up the garage, place Altezi on the platform, and put the Pack-a-Punch machine on the back. This is a very important central hub location as it allows you to get very important things here. Bring the truck all the way down to the bottom of this garage, pay to open it up, and then place the truck on this center pad here. Once you've done that, you can grab this part, and this will actually put the Pack-a-Punch machine on the back of the truck. Now, keep in mind, there will be further upgrades for this truck down the road, but those are more Easter egg related stuff, so don't worry about that for now. All you need to do is make sure that you have the Pack-a-Punch machine on the truck, and then you can start upgrading your weapons basically anywhere you want to. This is nice because we now have a portable Pack-a-Punch machine for the first time in pretty much any zombies map. Now, something you may notice as you're playing is you can find these little plants on the ground that allow you to spray them, and if you do, they're going to start making noise and attract zombies to it. However, if you defend it from zombies and don't allow them to touch it, you can actually let yourself grow the plant, and if it becomes purple, you'll get a pretty decent amount of salvage out of it. Keep in mind that salvage drop rates naturally from zombies are significantly reduced compared to Black Ops 6, so you want to take advantage of every little extra way you can to get additional salvage, so the plants are a big one. But also, if you get these Ravager rounds, these, little Labubu monkeys, these can start to eat equipment on the ground, they'll eat weapons, basically any sort of dropped item, they will go and try to consume. Now, if it's an item you don't want, go ahead and let them eat it because they will consume unwanted equipment and then they'll start glowing. But if you kill these glowing ravagers, they will drop you more salvage. So this is another way to slightly increase it in the early game. Make sure that you're keeping up with the, zombies increasing power and speed and all that. From this point, if you go past exit 115 and continue down the road, this will take you to the Ascension area, right? The rocket testing location. And so this is basically the launch map from Black Ops 1 pretty much. It's less of an Ascension layout and more the MP map, but same deal here. There's stuff to find. You can get armor vests. There's going to be stuff for like wonder weapons eventually and Easter egg steps and all that stuff. This video is not going to cover the main Easter egg. I will have a full video covering the main Easter egg in the future for that. However, this is just for getting comfortable and familiar with the systems and the map. Now, if you pull up your HUD, you can see that on the key over here on the right side, you can see where all of these individual things are located. So all of your perks, there's going to be specific perks in specific areas. However, once you get access to the Wonder Fizz, you can go over to where spawn was in the Janus Towers Plaza, and the Wonder Fizz machine will be there waiting for you. So if you want to just get all of your perks at once, considering you have the points, you can just do it right here, very quick and easy. But if you go past the rocket test location and start to wrap back towards spawn, you can end up at the cabins. And this is yet again another area where you need to destroy all of the growths and then flip the power switch. And once again, there's little secret things to interact with in each area. But now you have access to the full map. And the very important thing to consider is that you can either use Tezzy, the truck, to get around, or you now have access to these jump pads. And depending on which one you're looking at and selecting, it will just automatically teleport you to that location. Keep in mind that you can only travel or fast travel to a location that is directly adjacent to it. So for example, if I'm at Janus Towers Plaza, I can only go from there directly to the cabins or to farm. Now, a few tips and tricks you definitely should know as you're playing. First of all, armored zombies are a lot less frequent in Black Ops 7 compared to Bo6. They move a bit slower, but they hit much harder. So I would say to really keep in mind to not let these things hit you at all costs, as they are a lot slower and less threatening that way, but they are very beefy and they hit hard as a truck. So the other thing to consider is that the elite enemy, this Zursa, the bear, has a couple of mechanics that you can exploit to absolutely make sure you're deleting these, because these definitely can be a threat. So first, you should know that it does have a few ranged attacks. It can throw these, bees at you. It can also leave behind this beehive that has a radius that will, slowly tick damage over time if you walk through it. So avoid these at all costs. Either walk around them, or you can shoot the center core and destroy it, which will, destroy the radius. Now, if you shoot the vulnerable spots, the growths on the bear, you'll get bonus damage for that. And keep in mind, he is especially weak to napalm burst fire damage. So if you have a bullet weapon with napalm burst applied as your ammo mod, you will be absolutely dumpstering these. Now, this is true in both Farm Survival and Ashes of the Damned. They're also exceptionally weak to ray guns. These are a very good option as well. Now, if you see this icon pop up, this is a TED challenge and works basically identical to the Samantha challenges in Black Ops 6 Zombies. If you're familiar with those, you probably know how this works. But just in case you don't, if you see this icon, follow it to wherever it is in the map. And if you activate this challenge, he's going to give you a task. Now, this can range from holding down a location, getting a certain amount of kills like a score streak or something, but he'll give you a task, and if you complete it efficiently or timely or just very well, you'll have different tiers of rewards and should shoot for the highest one, because you'll get a lot of good stuff out of this, especially if you do it in the early game. I mean, you can get on full-on wonder weapons, right? You can get ray guns out of these, and they also have a new feature, which I'm pretty sure is just a great advancement from Black Ops 6. They have permanent perks associated with these. So I believe the way this works is, for example, if you have all the perks already and you do a challenge and you get a perk that you already have, in Bo6 that was useless, but they have a permanent perk in this one, which I believe if you go down and get revived, you will still retain it, which is really nice and makes them actually worth doing. So make sure you're looking out for those, as they can be extremely helpful. Now, if you are driving the truck in Ashes of the Damned and it happens to break, whether the enemies take it down or you hit too many of these red growths and the truck is destroyed, you can either use the center over in Ashwood to teleport directly to the truck and then repair it, or you can wait for Ted to repair it if you get to a safe location. So let's say you pull up to exit 115, but the health of the truck is low. If you hop out of it and just kind of, wait around for a while and kill zombies, Ted will slowly start to repair the truck on his own, or you can do it manually. keep in mind, if you don't necessarily need the truck, the most efficient way to get around is just by using these jump pads, and I would make sure you get very familiar with all of the jump pad locations and where they take you, because it makes navigating this map significantly easier. And then from this point, you can either choose to play again until you die, or you can try and exfil and get some more XP. I would recommend leaning towards exfilling, especially if you're at the point where you're trying to unlock all of these augments. If you're starting from the very beginning and you have a lot to unlock, this is probably a good way to go. But if you have all of your stuff unlocked already, there isn't that much point to exfilling, to be quite honest. And the last thing you might be wondering, okay, this is great, but how do I play that cursed mode, that like quote unquote classic zombies mode that's supposed to come out? Cursed mode will be releasing shortly after whoever finds the main Easter egg of Ashes of the Damned, which might be us, honestly. I will be streaming the Ashes of the Damned Easter egg hunt, so make sure to watch that. But anyways, I will have a lot of videos about cursed mode and how it works, and give you a lot of tips and tricks for, you know, defeating and overcoming the challenges that it's going to present us. But for now, hopefully this will give you enough information to start jumping in, enjoying zombies, and playing Ashes of the Damned or Farm Survival. Thank you guys very much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like on the video. I'd appreciate it a lot, and I'll see you guys very soon.